What's up, guys? Badwolf. More information for you. All right. So, thanks for those people who take the advice and do the homework and the research and then validate themselves as well as validating me. For those other people out there who don't know what a lot of this is, it's probably because you're not doing your research. So, is everything in here 100% perfect and above the law? No, by no means am I saying that. But there is a difference. There's jurisdiction, and most of the people who are the trolls out there, who are like your cops and your attorneys, and no direct offense to them, the good ones especially, the bad ones, well, you know what it is. Um, they're taught to live inside the jurisdiction and not to know what's on the outside of the fence. So how can you even have any idea what's out there if you've never been out there? And if you've been out there, which this has already been proven and validated by many people who have done this, lived this way before me. I'm not the first one on the roll. I'm not the herald of all this information. Okay, um, but I challenge you to do the research. That's all I can say. All right. Um, but hey, even your guys' comments are supporting the channel. So to all those who appreciate it, awesome. And to the rest, hey, do the research. That's all I can tell you. So this video is going to be about the fact that maybe you guys have seen this, but when you drive around, very little these days, but you still see it, you see the words unincorporated on signs for certain cities or municipalities, and or if you want to use that word, just various things. So it got me wondering if incorporating your business puts you underneath the jurisdiction of the state, and then that's underneath the jurisdiction of the UCC, which is also underneath the jurisdiction of Washington, D.C., which is underneath the jurisdiction of the United States, which is a foreign, look it up, corporation, because it's also a territory, so it's not a state. So all these states, the federal aspects of these states, the state's business side, which is different from the republic side, so it's like three different power levels here. If you're unincorporated, what does that mean? So behind me is the Google definition of, literally written out, definition of unincorporated. So my first thoughts off the top of my head is that means that you are operating out from underneath a corporation and not underneath, you're doing business, but not underneath their rule or jurisdiction. Now, I did read something interesting recently, issued by, I think his name is John Nolan. He's on, sorry to put your information out there, I guess, on Facebook, and he issued a clip of Supreme Court ruling where it talked about you have the ability as an individual or national, U.S. national, to live underneath your own state. Okay. And if you don't live underneath your own state, you can or you will be put underneath their state, So that made it kind of interesting. So basically, like what I did is when I formed my own house as its own micronation, I created my own state. Okay, so even though people might say you're king of your castle, it's actually legitimately true, but you have to learn all the ins and outs of walking that life. Okay, so let's get to the results here. I digress for going off on that, but anyway. So, the definition, unincorporated, adjective, of a company or other organization not formed into a legal corporation. Not legal, but not formed into a legal corporation. So a lot of people think, oh, legal, it's the law. I have to, on the other side. No, this means that you're outside of their jurisdiction, their domain. They put those words in there to kind of scare you back into there. Say, I don't want to do anything illegal. But there was a time when most businesses, mom and pop shops out of their house, were working unincorporated, or cities still to this day are unincorporated. They do not belong to the state, to the business federal side of the state, or to the federal state side. So the second part of the definition is not included as part of a whole. Then it's got example, the rise of an unincorporated politics of protest. So in law, an unincorporated area is a region of land that is not governed by a local municipality corporation. Similarly, an unincorporated community is a settlement that is not governed by its own, let's see here, government. So we're gonna pop in here. All right, 1 second. There we go. Is not governed by its own local municipal corporation, but rather is administered as part of a larger administrative divisions, such as a township, parish, borough, county, city, canton, state, province, or country. Occasionally, municipalities dissolve or disincorporate, which may happen if they become fiscally insolvent and services become the responsibility of a higher administration. Widespread unincorporated communities and areas are distinguishing features of the United States and Canada and most other countries of the world. There are either no unincorporated areas at all, or these are very rare, typically remote, outlying, sparsely populated, or uninhabited areas. So, of essence, this is basically saying that you can operate, now don't, educational purposes only, but you can operate your business, or whatever, municipalities, even cities are doing it without being incorporated. But apparently you have to say it's an unincorporated area or unincorporated business. So do I have all the full ins and outs of that? No, because this is only the beginning of this research, so I'm going to challenge you guys to do your own digging before utilizing this for anything. But so this is real. I mean, obviously you've driven around and you've seen unincorporated town, unincorporated this. So almost like, you know how with the pandemic right now, how all these businesses and municipalities are falling in line due to the fact that they're all underneath the federal government because they're incorporated through them. All right, so they're underneath the UCC. These are their rules. You have to abide by these things. Us as nationals don't have to nearly abide by. You should always cooperate and do what's requested of you when going in and out of one of these places. But there's also like religious freedom and you being a U.S. national where you don't have to. However, the person who's going to give you a hard time about wearing your mask or whatever else is making like $10 an hour, and they don't know anything about that because management doesn't know anything about it because they don't read the laws to know that you have religious freedom or that you just don't have to wear one if you don't want to because you're not a U.S. citizen. But if you're engaging in being a U.S. citizen, then they expect you to do these things. And you probably drove there in your car with their plates on there. You've got a driver's license. You've got all these things that say you're a U.S. citizen. So just cooperate. Make it easy. I mean, if you want to resist, hey, do it. Lord knows I do. But if they put up a fuss, I pull one out, put it on, and it is what it is. Okay, they're only doing what they have to do because they're underneath that jurisdiction, and even though they're open to the public, they have to do what they're told to do. You as a person don't exactly have to as a U.S. national, but you know, just do yourself a favor, do it. You know, if you know, to just get through the situation, because otherwise trying to put up a protest and showing your HIPAA signs and whatever else, which are all legal valid things, you know, some people, you can have your cards, you can do whatever, but at the end of the day, it's just easier to, you know, to do it. I'm not saying give in to their demands. Wear them where you don't have to wear them. Wear them where they give you a hard time. It's no sense in them calling the police, and then the police are only going to do their jobs because they're federal employees, which they are foreign to the United States of America. But anyway, they're acting on their belief system. So just save yourself some time and do what's needed for the situation. So that's about it, guys. Look up unincorporated and do your own due diligence. As always, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you. Information about files and forms and all that good stuff is down below, including some good offers for Uber and CBD oil and whatever else is down below. Otherwise, take care, stay healthy, and don't forget to hit that bell, like, subscribe on the way out. More information can be found on my YouTube homepage in the About section. That's about it. More videos coming. Talk to you guys later. Badwolf is over and out.